Welcome back, everybody. It is April 11th, 2018, 6:43 a.m. You are looking at current temperatures. This must be a joke at this point. I am so tired of waking up and it being in the 20s or the teens or even the 30s at this point. We are in the second week of April, going into our third week eventually. But our third week is going to open up with a winter storm and a big spring storm that is going to cause, in my opinion, a flare-up of tornadoes, a lot of water up the Ohio River Valley, and even into the upper East Coast, including North and South Carolina, a big wind event in the coast, all the way up to Chesapeake Bay. This is looking to be a very significant storm. But first, let's talk about this real quick. We brought this lightning chart up. In fact, it was actually a different lightning chart, but this was right over the middle sections of Florida here, just under the Panhandle. Now, yesterday there were 2 reported tornadoes in Fort Lauderdale, believe it or not. Here we go. 2 tornadoes spotted during a stormy afternoon in Fort Lauderdale. They were both EF0s, so not really massive tornadoes. The first of which was 65-mile-an-hour top winds, and the second was 85, which was near the airport. A few articles about the actual area in which these 2 tornadoes did their little bit of damage. A lot of different Twitter videos and people posting online about them. I'll leave the articles in the description box so you guys can go check them out, but they describe how long they lasted, and it was a pretty eventful day in Fort Lauderdale, to say the least. Sorry guys, very early in the morning, gotta head to work soon. Just wanted to update you on these tornadoes and this spring/winter storm that we are preparing for. This may be Winter Storm Xanto, because I believe we have not had that storm yet. Just to take a look at that moisture system that passed over Florida yesterday, and currently it was overnight tonight as well, overnight last night rather, that we had a lot of rain in Florida still going on, and the thing is just about now just pulling off the east side of Florida, which is why you see the lightning now far off into the Atlantic Ocean. These are all current strikes. All these little boxes here are little sensor areas where they actually have these recordings, so they give us this website to use for current lightning strikes, and it just matches up with certain moisture systems and storms so we can keep an eye on them. Very cool website. I love this website, among others that we use a lot here, and we will be using while hurricane season begins to get to our doorstep, basically. Any day now we could see a tropical storm in the Atlantic Ocean, guys. If you remember, it was about 9 days from today we had our first tropical storm of last year. Record-breaking year this year. I don't see it being any different. These are the tornadoes. We talked about that. Lightning's good. We did the tornadoes. And now I want you to look at this moisture system here. Now this is going to bring a lot of severe weather. This is going to mix with an upflow of moisture that is going to put Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi in severe threat for tornadoes, and that is going to move up into Missouri. That's going to go as far north as Illinois, including the west sides of Kentucky and Tennessee. Now that is going to begin on the 13th. That is the day after tomorrow. So we're going to go to Tropical Tidbits to look at this. If you see here, this is the 14th, so I'm going to back up here. Those of you that live anywhere from Texas up into the Great Lakes area and then east, as far as the wind and rain goes, you need to pay attention to this, because tornadoes, if we're getting tornadoes in Florida, you can get them in New York. I look at it that way because usually we get them in Tornado Valley or Tornado Alley right in this area, but we had that storm that broke or exploded in the Gulf and moved west to east across the top end of Florida, and that wind was so strong that it was causing tornadoes. You have to have 2 cross shear winds up in a little bit too high in the sky. It doesn't have to be up in 30,000 feet or anything like that, but that's where the tornadoes are formed. And now we have this low pressure system, and you can see clearly that areas of Montana here, we got Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, and even the west side of Nebraska, and a little bit down into Colorado are experiencing snow by the 13th. That's the day after tomorrow. If I back up to current time, we can see how this thing forms. We did talk about this yesterday and the day before for being a potential significant spring storm, but also with a winter storm to go with it. Now this here is a low pressure system that's making its way to the northeast. I don't see this being that big of a deal, besides a bit of a rain event for northeast Pennsylvania, North Pennsylvania, Northwest Pennsylvania, Central PA, and obviously covering New York. That's going to happen between now and the 13th, but then towards the end of the day of the 13th, this low pressure system is what we need to watch out for. This is a very, very strong system. You can see these lines very close together, very high wind, fast moving, and it's got a snow system behind it, and that is being pulled down from Canada. That's the jet stream dip right here. Allows the cold air to move down, so this entire area is at risk for snowstorms. And then the upflows this way, which allows the warm air from the Gulf to come up, which is why we see rain in the second half, the southern half of Minnesota and the southern halves of Iowa, and that stretches all the way across Wisconsin, Michigan, top area of Ohio, into New York and Pennsylvania. That is the beginning of the 13th. Now, the second half of the 13th is when things get interesting, and we're going to start seeing severe weather in Texas. Now, that is what we need to watch out for, because this is where tornadoes are going to come into play. As we move into the 14th, you can see the east area of Texas with a strip going into the top west areas of Louisiana, and that also includes Arkansas. That's when the tornado threat's going to begin. We got the low pressure in central U.S. Right to the west of Iowa by the beginning of the 14th. The second 6 hours of the 14th, we can see that severe threat stretching all the way up into the east Arkansas area and beginning to touch Missouri. And then we have that winter storm all the way up into the Great Lakes. So I think by that time this storm will be named, and that will be Xanto. I know we spoke about Xanto possibly being last week and never got its name, but look at this also, this yellow strip right here. This is the top area of Illinois and Indiana. That is severe weather right there, guys. This is going to be a lot of rain up the Ohio River Valley, including tornadoes, and we just got a taste of it in Fort Lauderdale. Now, as you watch this strip, it gets bigger and bigger. That's a lot of moisture being pulled up from the Gulf, and again, the cold air from Canada is what's making this pancake-looking deal here, with the rain and mix going all the way across the Great Lakes into northern New York. So we may see some snow in northern New York. I still don't think this will be much of a wintry event for the Northeast, but we need to look at these areas. Look at that purple right there, guys. That is severe, severe storms stretching now while we're into the 15th from Louisiana through Mississippi into Tennessee, and even the bottom half of Kentucky need to be on alert for the upcoming 3 to 4 days as far as tornadoes go. You're going to hear a lot about this on the Weather Channel, your local weather, as it gets closer. You can see it stretch across Mississippi and Alabama here, clear as day up through Tennessee, and then a separate little system here as it moving into the west areas of Kentucky. That may start affecting areas of West Virginia as well. This is the newest run of the GFS. We can see there's potential for severe weather in the or just under the panhandle of Florida once again. Now, this is where the threat gets pretty significant as far as wind goes for the East Coast. This is Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and then into Virginia, and West Virginia is now covered in yellow. A little bit of yellow here in the Great Lakes. That winter storm seems to be staying north at this point after it does whatever it's going to do to Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and possibly Michigan. And then let's move forward again. You see these yellow strips pulling straight up the northeast. And then there we have it. This is where North and South Carolina need to be on alert, especially the coastal areas. April 16th, that includes central PA, western New York, and then as we move into the 17th, it begins to get back into the ocean, lifting off of the Carolinas and then being more of just a northeast event by the April 16th. I have a family member with a birthday at that day, so that kind of keeps me reminded of April 16th. I think April was when Mount St. Helens went off, too. I might be wrong about that. It might have been May or some other month. Sorry. Anyway, so this severe weather actually stretches up from West PA all the way into New York with the yellows, and then this thing will finally lift off the U.S. By the end of the 17th. Very big low pressure system, and then this thing explodes over Nova Scotia as well. And then look at this, guys, right behind it, possibly another winter system we might be watching out for. So to bring this back, just to watch how it forms, you can see the low pressure begins right around Colorado. We got that separate low pressure that makes its way over in the next 2 days, and then this thing just pulls moisture from all different directions, pulling it down from Canada, up from the Gulf and the Baja, and then we have severe weather all the way up through the Ohio River Valley, Tornado Alley, Tornado Valley, whatever you want to call it, and then we move into the 15th. Very severe systems going on here. So people in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, basically all of the tornado risk areas need to be on alert for the next 5 days. You will be hearing about this. I will be talking about this more than likely later on this afternoon, maybe on my lunch break today. But that's what I wanted to bring you guys today. You can see here they're already writing articles about this. Potential spring storm will bring severe weather to the south and a wind event too. This is going to be a very big wind event, which is why the tornadoes are such an issue, or are going to be an issue. All right, guys, I got to get going. I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.